people working in household care say their pay is lower than the minimum wage because travel time between clients is not factored in correctly. A new study by Fairer Carer Pay has shown that more than 70% of home care workers don't earn the minimum wage. Well, Stephen is a carer from Harrogate and can tell us his experience of working in home care. He's with me now alongside Dan Archer from the National Association of Care and Support Workers. Morning to you both.
Morning, Georgie.
If I can start with you, Stephen, just explain how the pay works for home carers, because you're not paid a flat fee for all the hours that you work. Is that right?
Yeah, so I mean, it goes like hand in hand with the 0 hour work, but it's even worse than the 0 hour work. So when I started to do care originally, I absolutely love it, but it was advertised, let's just say £14, and I thought I was going to get £14 an hour. But you're only getting it for each individual visit you go to. So the visit's only half an hour, and then you've got half an hour gap, then you've got half an hour, then you might have a 2 hour gap, then half an hour. You're only getting paid an hour and a half in, say, let's 3-4 hours. Sometimes if you did like 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. was a standard shift at 15 hours, but you might only do 8 hours spread across the day, but the gaps are peculiar in between, and you're not getting paid them. So it works out sometimes, and if you're on £8 odd an hour, because you're only paid for the time that you're actually on for work, and you don't get paid your travel, you don't get paid your waiting time, and you can't go anywhere. So half the time you have to just sit in your car.
Goodness. And what kind of impact does this have on you?
Well, initially, I felt like I was tricked, to be honest. Because you also then think, oh, well, at least I'll get my day filled. And it doesn't work like that in care, because care's busy on a morning, busy on an evening, and you might have a little bit during the day. And the impact is you're away from your house for a lengthy period of time, and you need to earn, if you need to earn, like everyone does, full time, 40 hours pay, you're out of the house well over 60 hours just to earn the 40 hours, well over 60 sometimes. You have your good weeks and bad weeks with it, but in general, you're never close to it. When it actually works out, you're nothing close to the hourly rate that you're actually on. It's only for that particular single visit, so it's across the board. You never spread it out.
Gosh, you're chasing your tail, aren't you, Dan? If I can bring you in on this, how common are stories like Stephen's?
Well, unfortunately, Georgie, Stephen's story is frighteningly common. So the data that comes from fairercarerpay.co.uk was collected over 3 years from 2,000 carers across the country, and it showed that 71.8% were paid below the legal minimum wage. Now, if you apply that ratio to the workforce as a whole, in Yorkshire and Humberside, that's 51,000 people being paid illegally. Across the country, it's 574,000 people paid illegally.
Good grief.
And the research also showed us the amount that they're short paid, and that was on average £2.51 an hour less than the legal minimum across the country.
So what on earth is the solution then, Dan?
Well, government are trying to change things. They've got the Fair Work Agency coming in. They've got a fair pay agreement coming in. They're talking about a specific minimum wage for the care sector. The problem, I think, is that government have wholesale underestimated the degree to which there is non-compliance with minimum wage legislation at the moment. So just moving the minimum wage amount is not the solution when you've got so many people not actually being paid the minimum wage they should be paid at the moment. I think it needs better enforcement. I think it needs government to acknowledge the scale of the problem. And unfortunately, I've written to the Minister Kinnock, who's the Minister for Social Care, and his response was he feels it's a shame that the minority of providers spoil it for the majority. And last time I checked, 71.8% is actually the majority.
Yeah, definitely. Contacted the Department of Work and Pensions, and they say that they're going to try hard and turn the situation around. They've launched the first ever fair pay agreement to boost recruitment and retention. How far is that going to help?
Well, I think the problem is the base that they're addressing is not the reality of the data that we have. And it's not just our data. Unison did a survey in 2023 which showed that 75% of care workers weren't paid for travel time from a base of minimum wage. Now, as soon as you do any driving at all, that means, unfortunately, you're paid less than the legal minimum wage. West Streeting announced at the Labour Party conference £500 million of additional funding by 2028. The numbers that we have show that the cost of getting the work workforce just to the legal minimum wage today is £2.2 billion.
Oh,
So
gosh.
£500 million by 2028 just does not do enough. And I think it's because, again, sadly, people are not understanding the degree to which this practice is commonplace.
Stephen, I know that you're now working for a company that actually does pay your travel time. And what difference has that made to you?
It makes a big difference, especially if you're going out on like morning or an evening, knowing that you're starting at, say, 5 p.m, finishing at 10, and you're pretty much getting paid for that entire time. So it works that you get paid. You get paid minimum wage for travel time and waiting time, but then you get paid your hourly rate for when you're on the visit. So you're actually
good.
You're getting paid for your full time, and it feels better. The other thing is, I'm working for a company that pay the going rate for your mileage, so you don't have to claim anything back. Like almost like you work for yourself. A lot of other companies will pay you the minimum for the mileage, and you have to go through the process of trying to claim it all back, and you don't always get it back, because it's really hard to try and give evidence of a year's worth of visits to different people's houses across a town.
Yeah.
So you've got that factor in as well, which also undercuts you when you're getting paid the minimum fuel amount. But now you don't have to worry as much about, for a fact, if you're out for this long length of period of time, you're getting paid for that length of period of time, not having to wait around in your car going, well, I'm not being paid right now.
No, exactly. It's time wasted, isn't it? Stephen, thank you so much for sharing your story with us this morning. This is Stephen. He's a carer from Harrogate. And also my thanks to Dan Archer from the National Association of Care and Support Workers.